The political panel all-stars up shortly, Whānau, but first, this week's 1-on-1 in 10 with leader of the Opportunities Party, Q Wong, who has gone from pretender to contender after the Roy Morgan poll put top at 6%. Kia ora, comrade. Welcome to the show and thank you for being available to the Fourth Estate. Your democracy is grateful.
Kia ora, thanks for having me.
Kule, top gaining 6% in the Roy Morgan poll is an extraordinary achievement, and I say that as someone who has helped start 3 political parties. Why is top appealing to voters this year, and who is your electorate?
Yeah, firstly, just want to acknowledge it's a momentous time for us. We've never polled this high in the history of the party, so we're really taking a moment to acknowledge where we are on that huge mountain. I think the reason we are polling here is many factors. We've learnt a lot. The campaign's been before. We're putting in the work in terms of the ground game and actually getting out into communities. We know that we have to earn the trust of New Zealanders, and they need to believe that we can represent them well in Parliament. But also, totally timing is good for us. People are really frustrated and they don't believe that the major parties in particular have got the solutions for the big challenges that we are faced with today. And so they are looking for a party with bold ideas that can actually take us to a future that our young kids are going to want to stay for, that are going to want to come back and help us build together. And so we're really stoked that the momentum that we're feeling on the ground is reflected in the polls.
What are the core values of the Opportunity Party?
So our values are kind of different, I suppose, from a typical political ideology. I think for us, it's about that long-term view. So it's really always thinking about how do we not only make our society better today, but what is going to be best for the next generation. That's how we approach decision making. And then I think the other core part of our values is around this harmony between the economy and the environment. We don't think those things need to be in conflict. And I suppose that's where the challenge comes with, we've got people on the left wing calling us right wing, people on the right calling us left, because we care about business and we care about the environment. And we think that that is actually the new frame for the next era of our society.
You have the great Ian Lees Galloway and the greater Jackie Blue in the background of the party. Jackie was furious with the pay parity decision. Is that one idea or piece of legislation that top would repeal if in power?
Yeah, we certainly, obviously it's not just up to us, and there is a big budget consideration with that, but it is a priority for us and we would certainly push for that to be repealed. I think that is a classic acknowledgement of how if we actually pay people better, our economy will work better. It's not just, obviously we want to, it's about fairness and it's about treating people well. It's also about recognizing that that is what builds a good economy.
If you cross the threshold this election, what are the guiding principles of how you would negotiate? Would you seek out the largest political party first?
Yeah, I think it's fair to negotiate with the largest political party first. I think that's a sort of unwritten rule of MMP that we would continue to follow. In saying that, if we felt like those negotiations were leading down a path where we felt like we had to compromise too much on our values, we wouldn't be accepting deals just for a seat at the table. Then we could look at the other party and see what they've got to offer. We'll be really clear what our top priorities are going into that negotiation. And obviously, the other parties will have their policies as well. They'll announce hopefully sometime this year. And we'll be looking to see how much alignment there is between what they're putting out and what we've got.
Would you seek government coalition or vote from the crossbenchers? And what is the process for deciding that?
We are not ruling anything out. So I know previously we've said openly we'd only go on the crossbenchers.
Yep.
I think it's important for us to keep those options open. There might be a really good coalition agreement, good partnership that we think is really valuable and we can get some key policies across the line with that. So that's certainly an option. Again, I feel like if we don't feel like we could work with either party constructively on what we want to achieve, we would either sit on crossbenchers, or I don't know. There's multiple ways that outcome could go when it comes to negotiating.
What are TOP's bottom lines?
Our top priorities are really clear on the website. So oceans, energy, productivity, tax, and citizens' assemblies. Obviously, we're not going to get all of those, but those are the things we're going into that negotiating conversation with. I think in terms of red lines that we don't want to agree to, that will be any further rolling back of environmental issues.
Right.
Or something like a treaty principles bill we certainly wouldn't agree to.
Who could Top work with? A National Act New Zealand First government or a Labour Green to Pāti Māori government?
We honestly could work with either group. I think our preference would be to have fewer parties in that coalition, ideally 2, but maybe 3. It's going to be interesting to see how the numbers roll coming closer to the election. With the major parties getting less, you've got, potentially a 4-party coalition. We genuinely would sit around the table to try and negotiate in good faith with any of those parties.
Finally, Kule, you are out all the time talking with voters this election. What are they telling you about what they're needing?
Honestly, the pendulum politics thing comes up over and over again. Whether I'm talking to people that work in education, in health, whether they're in business, in local government, it's that constant changing tact every 3 years or every 6 years that I think is stalling our economy and creating more division in our politics. And that's what we're hearing really loud and clear. People want some stability and consistency going forward, but they also recognise we need some big ideas that are going to work for the majority of New Zealanders. And we think that that's really what we're bringing to this election. You've
got some big backers who have donated money to you. They've also donated money to other right-wing political organisations. Are you coming to this clean-skinned? Are you coming to this election not owing anyone anything?
Absolutely. We are very clear with our donors and with the public that donations do not buy influence.
Yes.
We have had, interestingly, both Philip Mills and Brian Cutmell, who are on both ends of the political spectrum. And I think the commonality, the common thing that they're donating to us for is fresh ideas and a fresh voice. And they recognise they don't agree with everything that we stand for. There's 1 or 2 things that they really love, but mainly it's the fresh voice.
Thank you, comrade, for your insight and oversight. We'll speak with you again next month.
Thank you.
Cheers.